What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astrodfs DFS, bringing you a brand new video. Today's video, I'm going over the NHL slate tonight. I know I haven't done one of these videos in quite some time, probably at least a year, but getting back into it, I'm going to try to make these videos on all my off days, try to go over the slate, stuff like that, so I just feel like there's not enough content around NHL DFS, and there's not a lot of players that play it. But the guys that do, it's honestly a fun sport to get into if you haven't already. And there's just a lot of opportunities. The games are usually high scoring. In my opinion, they're just more fun to watch than most sports at this current time. Especially the way the NFL has been. This is definitely something to get into. So it's a nice 3-game slate tonight. All games around 6.5, some getting to 7, but I think for the most part it's at 6.5 tonight for all 3 games. Just using daily face-off, just to give it a quick example on an easy way to kind of look at stuff for research for NHL DFS. Now, there's other sites that are going to be more beneficial to you, but as far as just a beginner site, I think Daily Faceoff is excellent. Has all the lines, has the prices on DraftKings and FanDuel, stuff like that. So let's get into it. So the first game on the slate is Tampa Bay against Florida. Goalie-wise, we're looking at Bobrovsky versus Valensky. I hope I didn't botch those names. It's very hard to say. But you're looking at Andre at 7,600. We go to Florida and look at Bobrovsky, and he's 7,800 on, and just going over DraftKings. So fairly similar in price points today. Honestly, these are both teams that like to push pace, get a lot of shots on net, put a lot of pressures on teams. And you get some pretty good prices on both teams. So if you go and look at just the forwards for Florida, obviously some big changes between this year and last year with Florida. But that first line you're looking at, Veragi, I'm going to try not to botch these names. It's so hard to try to not botch hockey names just because of the different countries and stuff. So I'm going to try my best. So give me a break for botching names. I know it's going to happen quite a bit, and I'm going to try my best not to. If need be, I'll go first name if it gets that bad. But Carter Verhaeghe at 3,900 is definitely somebody that stands out to me. Not only is he on the first line, but if you go and look at the power play units, he gets on the second line as well. He's not with that star-studded first power play unit, but he gets that second unit. He had a 2-goal game last game. He's dirt cheap, and then he's on the first line of just the regular forward line. You get Sam Bennett here with Matthew Tkachuk. Yet again, give me a break on the names. I'm going to try my best. I will learn how to pronounce a lot of these names as time goes on. But Sam Bennett is another play at 5,000, getting the second unit, second line unit, and on the second power play unit. One of the guys that gets a decent amount of shots on this team. Patrick Hornquist is another name that always pops up. Being on one of those bottom lines, they just don't play him a lot, mostly because of his age. But with age, he still is able to produce points. You're getting him at 2,900. He's a guy that gets shots every game. It's not like he doesn't. And being on that fourth line is a little worrisome, but then you go on the power play unit, and he is on that power play unit. He is very efficient for what he plays. He just doesn't play a lot, which is one of his downsides of playing him. And going against this Tampa Bay team, who allows a lot of shots, might not allow a lot of goals. They allow a lot of shots. DraftKings, you just need 5 shots to get that bonus, and you're looking at double-digit fantasy points per player. Not saying that Patrick Hornquist is guaranteed on that, but being on that first power play unit, being on the fourth unit to where he's probably going to get a majority of the shots on that line, but nonetheless, that is definitely a play. Alexander Barkov is another play for me. He's obviously their as of right now, I'd say their best player. It is debatable, don't get me wrong, between Matthew Tkachuk and Barkov. But I think overall Barkov just really holds that first line very well. Being on the first line, first power play line, another play here for me. Defensively for Florida, you could play, in my opinion, both of the defenders for Florida, Forsling and Montour. Both of those guys obviously get block shots. Forsling has been more productive offensively, especially with Ekblad being out. He's one of those guys that is definitely holding it down for that defensive unit. And then Brandon Montour being on that first power play unit is something that you like. Forsling on the second. So both those guys are power play unit guys as well, and that's what you want in DFS. You want guys that are on the power play, guys that are on the first and second line for the most part. That's what you want to target. Or a very unknown name guy starts to produce on the bottom line. So stuff like that. And we'll look at the Tampa Bay side. Obviously, the first line of Kucherov, you get Brandon Point and Brandon Hagel. They're switching up lines, trying to find the most productive way. But honestly, the second line, Stamkos' line, is a line to me where I find value the most. Stamkos being one of the highest priced players on the slate today. But you get Alex Killorn here and Velasov. I'm not even going to try to say his last name because I know I'm going to botch it. But Stamkos, don't go based off of these stats still, because I believe they have the preseason stats. But Stamkos has been on a tear so far this season. Not really much here as far as value. Obviously, I'd say maybe Corey Perry, Nick Paul on that third line, but that's about it. And we go and look at the power play unit. That's why I said you get a 3K player who's going to be on the same line with Steven Stamkos. It's going to be on that first power play unit, and that first power play unit is very, very good in my opinion. It might not always seem that way, but in my opinion, they are good. And then that second line is where you find some of that value. So you get Brandon Hagel on the first actual line, second power play unit. Killorn on the second line, second power play unit. And then Corey Perry on the third line on the second power play unit. So yet again, that's just what you want. Is guys that are going to be on the ice. So that's it for that first game. The second game is going to be a more interesting one. That's between the Red Wings and the Blackhawks. Red Wings out. Some guys will go over that. So in the first line, they're making changes. It's Larkin, Perron, and Kubalak. Kubalak facing his former team. For me, there's definitely value all over the place. Elmer Soderblom. I know I'm botching it, I apologize. But he's a player that someone pointed out to me that huge forward for the Red Wings, and he scores in his first game. This dude is massive. This guy is somebody that I just want to continue to play, just because of his potential of what he could do with his height is so scary. But going back to that first line, you get Kubalek, Larkin, and Perron on that first line. Larkin is probably the biggest play. David Perron hopefully produces being with Dylan Larkin. Kubalek, I'm not too high on. His price is very good. I'm just not high on him in just overall. Defensive unit, Ali Mata is another player that's getting to face the Blackhawks. His former team been playing very well, as you could see. Like I said, don't go based off of the stats right now because they do go into preseason. But gets shots and blocks, same as Hornick. And then you look at the power play units. Hronik is on that first power play unit with Sundqvist, Larkin, Kubalek, Perrin. On that second one, you get Soderblom, Hope, Zadina, Kopp, Raymond. So that second unit is obviously with the injuries on that team doesn't look as good. There's not a whole lot of plays for me. I'd say honestly, Elmer, Dylan Larkin, Perron. And then the defenders, I think you could play most of the top 4 defenders on Detroit, and it wouldn't be a bad play. Obviously, I'd go that second unit just because you get a discount, and they're both on the power play units, or not not Mata, but Hronik is on the power play unit. Mata just gets a lot of playtime, especially being a penalty killer. So both those guys are in play for me. And then we get what to me is going to be the highest projected game total, and that's the Kraken against the Avalanche. Let's go over the Kraken really quick. And they're producing points. If you look at this roster up to down, the amount of goals they have and who's on their roster is honestly shocking. They're playing well above projections. And you just look at the prices, and I mean, no one is priced high on this team. Defensively, offensively, like there was no one in net, and I apologize for not going over the Detroit Chicago. I'll go back to that really quick. I do apologize for that. Detroit hasn't announced their goalie as of right now. I lean toward Husso in net. Chicago has announced it. Mrazek is going to be in net for the Hawks. I like Mrazek a lot. In this game, Detroit gets a lot of shots. They've been trying to shoot the puck. Obviously, with the injuries, that might change their pace. But I do like him as a value on DraftKings. And then for these teams, Francouz is getting in net against Seattle. And then Grubauer is going to be in net for Seattle against Colorado. And that's going to be a rough one. So let's get into the Seattle, and then we'll go back to Colorado, who is going to be a roster that you want to get in your lines tonight. Honestly, the second line for Seattle is probably the line that I'm targeting here. That first line is just, to me, all over the place. I like the second line. I feel like they're a lot more developed. Their chemistry doesn't look bad at all. You get Bjorkstrand, who to me has just been a guy that gets a lot of shots every year. Doesn't always get him on net by any means. A lot of missed opportunities for him, but he just shoots the puck a lot. And that's what you want. You want the 5 shots on DraftKings. You want that bonus. Even if they don't score, if they get the 5 shots, you're looking at over 10 plus points. 4,400, that's not a bad payoff at all. Andrea, like I said, I'm not going to try to get some of these last names, but he's been their most consistent player so far this year, and it's hard to say consistent with how they've been. Jaden Schwartz is another player for me that I'm targeting. That's pretty much it, is just those 3 for Seattle. Offensively, defensively, I like Justin Schultz here. I like Vince Dunn, and I like Adam Larson. Those 3 are guys that I like. You go and look at the power play unit. You get Vince Dunn, Schwartz, Jared McCann. And on the second unit, you get Schultz for Bjorkstrand. So you're getting these guys that are going to be on the units as well. I didn't go over Chicago, and I don't know why I didn't. It just dawned on me that I didn't. So I'll go over Chicago really quick, and then go back to Colorado, and I do apologize for being all over the place. Like I said, it's been a while, so that first line of Chicago is being outproduced by that second line of Chicago, and it's not even producing, because I don't think anyone's really producing on Chicago efficiently. But you get Max Domi at a huge value play, like 2,900 for him. Being on a line with someone like Patrick Kane is what you want. You want a guy that's going to pass Patrick Kane the puck, get the assist, hopefully get 3 points, and all 3 are coming at assists. You don't expect him to get a lot of shots tonight. He's 2,900, so what you're expecting on a player like this is to hopefully get you 2 assists, a shot, something like that. Get double-digit points at 2,900 to allow you to pay up for instance, Patrick Kane. I don't think this is the greatest game script for Patrick Kane. I do like him tonight, though. But I think I just pay up on some of those Colorado players, maybe the Florida players. But nonetheless, that's what you get out of paying somebody for him. That's your hope of what you're buying into. Obviously, that second line, Jonathan Toews is playing very well right now. With Tyler Johnson, Taylor Radish, that line is probably better than the first line. And then you get value on the defensive side of Chicago. Seth Jones is a player that I really like tonight against Detroit here, 5,900. And then Connor Murphy, known for a big shot blocker against a Detroit team like this, who's missing talent, like I mentioned before. Probably going to get some sloppier shots. He just needs 3 blocks. They need 3 blocks for that bonus, and you're getting somewhere around 12 points, I do believe, for that bonus as well. So those are guys that I like defensively. You can see Seth Jones, Max Domi, 2 guys that I pointed out are both on that first power play unit with Patrick Kane. On that second unit, I mean, this is just, it's ugly. That second unit, Chicago. So you're leaning towards that first side. You're leaning towards Max Domi, Seth Jones, Patrick Kane, Taylor Radish. Those are the guys. So for me, Chicago, there's not a whole lot. I do like the value plays there, though. We went over Seattle, and we'll finish off on Colorado. That first line, McKinnon, Lankinen, and Rantanen. Sorry. Obviously, you're paying up for that first line, and it's well why. Nathan McKinnon is one of the highest shooting players in the league, one of the best players in the league, and the reason that Colorado is where they're at right now, as far as getting that Stanley Cup and as far as the young talent that they keep bringing in and producing with. Rantanen is another guy that fits very well, hopefully getting their line mate back soon. And then the second line is where you find another value play. Nishkushkin is 7,000 here. And I definitely play him just because he's going to be on a power play unit. But JT Compher is 2,700. So another value play that you can get with Max Domi and at center too at that. You're not looking at him to get a lot of shots, to get a lot of block shots, anything like that. You're looking at him to basically get assists here. So if we look at the power play units, that first one is just so deadly. Seattle's going to need to avoid getting penalties in order to hang on. But that second power play unit, you get Evan Rajiz. Apologize yet again. JT Compher is another reason why. And then Bowen Bryan, the defender for Seattle, going to be on that first unit with Kale Maker. And that first unit is the unit that I'm targeting. I don't really want to go after anybody else. The prices aren't bad at all, but that first unit, especially with Taves being out for Colorado, means Bowen Brim gets a very good opportunity tonight. Goalie-wise, Frank Coos is probably the goalie that I'm going after tonight. I just think it's a very good game script for him. But yeah, that's it, guys. Next time I'll bring up DraftKings. It's a smaller slate. Usually we get 5+ games, but the way the NHL scheduling is sometimes is you get a really big slate like we did last night, followed by a really small slate the day before. So I was able to bring this up. Next time I'll do it on DraftKings and just go over some players and the prices on that. If you guys did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Yet again, give me a break on the names. It's going to be rough for a little bit. So I will see you guys in the next one.